just like that, they buy it. They eat it up. You pander to them, you thank them. I mean, really, people, I thought you were a little bit smarter than that. I mean, it's just so easy to say the name of the city. You cheer.
Hey, Stephanie,
just cheer. I mean, just come on.
Welcome to the A Show.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Justin, here with Meelz. I'm fucking energized this week. I'm energized.
I don't know why, but
I'm energized, bro.
I can't relate, but sure, let's do this. I mean, there was damn near a whole tropical storm out my window like 2 hours ago, but
that's lit. You still alive, bro?
Yeah, I'm real alive.
Then you should be
in an apartment
amped.
building.
You should be amped, bro.
What are you on? Seriously,
I'm having a good day. I'm having a good day, man. Life is good.
Right.
Life is good.
I respect it.
I almost ate some more chips. Just now.
All right. Well, listen.
Almost did. I'm not going to do it. But
That'll do it to you. Please don't.
This is the first. This is the first episode of August 2020 for the A Show.
This is episode 146, by the way.
Is it?
It's episode 146.
Dude, we should do like Vince McMahon and just stop numbering the A Show.
Stop numbering things and just A Show. It's a new episode of the A Show.
A Show star in A Show tree and shit like that.
All right. I mean, we can if we want to. But yeah, I mean, I'm having a great day too. I mean, granted, everything that happened out the window, but it's nice and sunny and beautiful now, and everything is great and A-okay and all this other stuff like that. But Justin, we are not alone on this thing. I feel like not only we were alone 5 minutes ago, and then you like lightly coerced him into doing this, which is fine.
If you saw the text, it was not light whatsoever.
Okay. All right. Well, true. Fair enough. Also featured on the show this week, you may know him from the War Report. You may know him from, next week's episode of The Lookout. That's going to be fun. Oh, my God. Cyrus, what's up, bro?
Yeah, it's kind of random that I'm here. I didn't expect to do a podcast on a Tuesday. I normally don't.
You were summoned. here for good reasons. It's not like it's not any bad reasons.
Yeah, this is the A Show underground, and we had to have Cyrus here.
Fair.
That's how we're masking it.
Yeah, it's the A Show underground.
Okay,
hey man, I enjoyed it. So,
but
we'll talk all about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it soon enough.
But of course, if you're subscribed to the A Show channel, you get this show, but you also get a couple of special shows that are coming up right for the tournament season of pro wrestling. Of course, even though COVID happened, the tournaments are not stopping, and there's a bunch of tournaments coming up. So Cyrus is going to announce a couple of things coming up on the A Show channel that he's going to be hosting. So Cyrus, take it away.
All right. For spot callers, I know we missed this month, but we'll be making up with a very special episode with TNA Victory Road. It was something that was submitted. I am not looking forward to watching it.
Wait. Which year?
The year.
2011.
Oh, the
year. Okay. All right. Well, listen.
So we're going to be doing that. And Stardom is going to be hosting their tournament, basically their G1 for this season. And me and my friend Alora, who was on the last Stardom episode, we're going to be watching the whole tournament. We don't know what the G show is looking like right now because it's happening in the fall, I believe. But we're going to get started with Stardom first and then hopefully transition into the G show.
I like that. I mean, it's a It's some new thing. Well, it's some old thing. TNA, first of all, Victory Road 2011, being the show is hilarious.
I've never seen it, so this is going to be like a fresh watch for me.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like it won't be as bad as actually. I don't think it's bad at all, considering all things like current now and kind of how the product is now.
We've seen wilder shit.
Heroes of Wrestling.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty much.
Even that, yeah.
I'm sure it'll eventually be a Dark Side of the Ring episode in the future.
Oh my god!
Wow,
but we get to go with that, and then I'm also, bro, interested in the Stardom content. We need more Stardom content on the A Show feed.
I'm trying to provide all I can for everybody.
Well, listen, that's amazing. That's amazing. First of all, thank you, Cyrus. And yes, you have to stick along for the rest of the show and add in your thoughts to all the great topics that we're going over. I actually have something that I do want to throw out, though. And I'm throwing this to J5. He doesn't know this either, so don't even feel bad about this, Cyrus. Throwing this out there. So have you seen, I learned this from watching the Joe Budden podcast. Don't ask. But I did. Apparently, someone on Medium created a 40 after 40 list. Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't.
No, I don't.
So it's the 40 highest ranking like rappers who have done the best after 40 years old. Like, who, considering rap isn't just the young man's game anymore, they kind of like split. Okay, who's doing well after 40? And it's this long list, and of course Jay-Z's at the top because he has invented being 40 and rapping. But I want to know: is there a wrestler's version of this list, the 40 after 40 with wrestlers? Who is doing the best post 40? In their career? And it's not even, I'm not even going to say like, it's like right now, like current, like who's 41 now and like hot and like, it's not one of that. It's like every career post 40, that can include Chris Jericho, that can include The Undertaker, that can include everything. Everyone's career post 40. Who do you think has the best career?
AJ Styles.
Ooh.
That is a very good pick.
I feel like he won most of his championships in his 30s though.
The WWE wise, he's for sure like one of their most decorated champions of all time.
I mean, this is true. Yeah.
He's one title away from a Grand Slam. Like he's won everything.
I would say
Ric Flair was my first thought.
Yeah, Ric Flair did a lot after 40. Actually, like he might have had a better career. No, actually, I probably won't say that. Brock Lesnar.
It's AJ or Brock to me. But I mean,
Brock just turned 40. Brock is like barely.
No, yeah, he's 43. Maybe
AJ's like 45. AJ's like 45, right?
I mean, the criteria he meets it.
Yeah, he might be like 40. I don't know. Let's see.
Daniel Bryan 40.
No, he might be. He might be turning 40 right now. It's an interesting conversation. Nah. I had an idea. So
he's 39. He's 39. He's 39.
Let me throw this out for you of someone who has probably the best career post 40, who probably started their actual like wrestling career post 40.
Batista?
Vince McMahon.
Oh wow!
I thought you were gonna say Diamond Dallas Page.
No, but he's a good one too. But I think Vince McMahon, legitimately, he wins like the WWE title at like 45 for the first time, and like wins the Royal Rumble at like 43, and like ECW championship at like 50 something, and it's like, damn, like he's actually like low key had a career post 40.
Muro Suzuki, I definitely think he's somebody up there. Like everybody loves him. He's murder grandpa to everybody, so I think he's probably would be top 5.
Liger.
Yeah,
Liger's a good one. Liger. Oh, I would say AJ, Brock, Liger, AJ, Brock, Liger. Damn, I gotta say Taker. I mean, Taker's had like a 5-star match in that same amount of time. He was 40.
Yeah, and probably Shawn Michaels too, right? Like Shawn Michaels, when you think of like his post 40, it was like he didn't win all these championships, but man, performing at such a high level and still being in the main event and all the other stuff like that, like he was killing it. He turned 40 in like 2005, so like all the rest of his career after that is like insane.
People are so like I guess, like, down on him right now, but let's revisit history, man. Like, Undertaker's definitely up there for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But that's just something I want to throw out there. I mean, it might be something for people to think about. Someone could do a medium list on it. Someone could, determine, like, all right, after 40, who's done. I would say Chris Jericho, if we're talking about, because I do think he's had an amazing career post 40. But
in multiple companies.
Yeah, in multiple companies. So he's killing it as well. A bunch of people. I'm sure you could pick a lot of Hulk Hogan, probably, because he's just.
He is wrestling when people think about it. Sadly.
Yeah, and it just is what it is. Like, but there's a lot in the post 40 crowd. So I don't know. There's just something to think about. But we actually have actual news this week.
Yeah, we do have news. We have news. So I mean, a lot of trickle down from last week's Naomi stuff. Not a lot of big news. Thank God no one's getting COVID anymore. And everybody's back from their COVID vacations, and this is reflected on both this week's shows and as well as NXT. Hey, Cyrus is here. We can talk about NXT. We can talk about NXT.
My face when y'all talk about NXT.
Come on, man.
Gotta let us have something, baby. Come on.
Y'all could talk about the main roster. There ain't shit to talk about.
Wow. Raw Underground is right there for you, buddy.
You're going to be able to talk about it this week. So the more of a trickle down from the Naomi stuff last week. Booker T went on his show at his big age and said that Naomi needs to earn her spot. Sometimes Booker T comes off as very informed, and other times he comes off as like tap dancing a little bit.
So the thing with Booker T, I feel like Booker T is he's kind of stuck in a very old school mentality. And I think it's mainly because of the thing that the way he was brought up in the business, and he had to like really work double hard because of his race and all this other stuff. And I feel like that's the majority comes across with a lot of the old black wrestlers, especially like Ron Simmons and Mark Henry and Booker T, people who in their respective eras were like I wouldn't even seen as an anomaly or something, but had to work twice as hard to be able to get to the spot, and they succeeded. Right. So they attribute their succeeding to working very, very incredibly hard. And it's true. They did. I mean, they were amazing at kind of everything that they did. But at the same time, it's like you can't necessarily put the scale for how they were judged and how everything has completely changed from then and now. Yeah. And everything that you guys done should even lay even more of a landscape to kind of how we see things now. So the fact that the hashtag Naomi deserves better, and everyone's saying that, and Booker T's like, I don't know about that, man. Like, I had to work hard back in the day. And, he's talking about Big E too, even in a sense. Like he went on his show and talked about Big E. And it was like
changing himself.
He needs to be more serious for that world title run. Like he needs to change. And it's like, your definition of a star in 1993 is not the same thing as the definition of a star in 2020.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's kind of where the disconnect is, and he doesn't really kind of he doesn't. Yes, hard work is going to get you far, 100%. But there's a million people working hard. At this point, it's like everyone says that they're working hard. Everyone's like, I'm working hard in the ring from the top to the bottom. Even people who you wouldn't believe is good. It's like, I work very hard. I deserve a spot, et cetera, et cetera. Everyone believes they deserve a spot.
Yes, you can work hard, but it's wrestling. And if you're just not written in anything, you can't really do anything. Like, it doesn't really matter how hard you're working. If they don't want to use you or have a story for you, they just won't. So... And whatever they're doing with Lacey Evans and Naomi, whatever, but it's just like, I'm just going to be in the belief for them. They just don't have anything.
I always felt like, again, and we'll talk about this on SmackDown proper, but like, it seemed like Naomi and Lacey was always the plan. And even with last week's, knee-jerk reaction, which didn't really hit that hard for either of us. Like, it just felt like that was the plan anyway, and you're not going to change it. I think Booker T, again, comes off as very, like, boomerish when he says things like this. Like, he doesn't understand the social media reaction. and that companies do listen. And whether it be New Japan, WWE, AEW, any company, they're going to listen to what the fans are saying online in some capacity. Like, they might not move the way you want to move and the speed you want to, but they do. And I think Booker T comes from an era where they just really were not listening to the IWC or dirt sheets or whatever. Like, they were doing whatever they had to do. And I mean, it's not even just him. Like, Booker T says some, or not Booker T, Mark Henry says some kind of weird shit before too. It's like the old guard kind of needs to sit back and teach the kids in a new way. But the thing is, the way that they learned it is not the way that they go about it. Like, I would want to listen to a Kofi Kingston right now or a Big E right now before I would listen to, you know, a Booker T. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, as far as how to you know, carry yourself,
navigate in today's landscape of professional wrestling.
They're active right now.
Yeah. And you know, like I said, the disconnect between what happened in 1993 and 2020 is completely different. You know, it's Booker. Yeah, it's just too often. You know.
What was the WrestleMania where he like faced off against Triple H? Like, trust me, if Booker T was active now, like if he was active now, people would have like had all this like fanfare and support for him, and he would have greatly appreciated that.
For sure. I even think because I was on, I think that was like my early stages of being on message boards back then. But even then, everyone could see it. It was like, yo, that was, how the hell did Booker T not win?
And
like,
when he was feuding with Edge over shampoo, like people would have been like on their like singing his praises, as saying that he deserves better. But it's just really just a different era.
But look at the way that they, like, we look back on that type of shit now, though, right? Like that shit. People laugh at the grocery store shit. If that was today, Booker T buried all over. But then it was looked at differently than now. And I think, you know, and that is in support of Booker T, really, me saying that. But like, he has to look at that and frame that how it is now. Like, it's a completely different world. You can't do stuff like that anymore. Even though it worked for you, you can't really push people like that anymore. Like, people hated the hotel fight with Mandy and Naomi. We loved it on the show, but like, people really hated that shit.
And looking back on it, hey man, I might run it back after this.
Yeah. This is probably one of the more substantial feuds that Naomi has, and just it progressed her as a character and as something that people want to fight for on TV, and I think that was a great thing. And that's kind of all that we really kind of want with Naomi. I mean, the end result may not be the women's championship, but at least it's like a spot, and it's a deserved, you know. Just something more. God damn. Right. Like,
Austin Theory. Where we want to go there. So Austin Theory.
He ain't on NXT no more. That's all, yo.
It's being reported that he has been indefinitely. It's been reported he's been indefinitely suspended. No other information coming out of that, but.
Yeah, I'm interested in what the hell is actually going on. I mean, it seems that everyone who was suspected to have, you know, got COVID or been affected by it or something along those lines, who had to be quarantined for 2 weeks, have returned to television, especially this week. So I'm kind of interested where he plays, because they're still doing the Murphy and Seth thing, and it seems to be kind of a 2-man thing. Austin Theory is nowhere to be found, and there's been kind of really, other than, you know, the reports that he's being suspended, there's kind of been no substantial news on like what's actually been going on.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate too heavily, because we all know kind of like what this might be in reference to. But again, it's like WWE's handling these issues with these people that were kind of put out there and speaking out in very different ways. And I think even when we surmised and we talked about the situation about a month ago, really, we said that as such, like, people are going to be given different scrutiny. And Austin Theory, he ain't big enough to be still on TV with accusations going out against him. Matt Riddle, front and center on SmackDown every single week. He gets 15 minutes. Austin Theory, he was brought up on a whim because Paul Heyman wanted to push some people. He's definitely expendable in their eyes. So, not much to say there, but, you know, I just think it's interesting that he hasn't been on TV since, and doesn't look to be on TV for the next couple of weeks at least. But that leads me down another passageway, if you will, about new stars. And this kind of breaks out into two different conversations where we talk about, of course, we talk about the Brock stuff, but we also talk about like the Bayley, Sasha having all the titles thing, and that got brought up. So I want to start there with the new stars argument. Ember Moon last week, expressed a little bit of her concern or really dislike, and she's really been very vocal. One of the most vocal people ever. Like as soon as she's been on backstage, you saw a different side of her where she felt as though, Sasha and the way Sasha and Bayley are being handled right now is definitely a detriment to the women in the back. And this sparked a whole conversation about whether Sasha deserved it, whether they should have all the belts. And of course, where the Sasha stands landed and where everyone else landed. So again, it is, I think that my issue isn't, and I don't want to speak for Meelz, but I think we both had the same thought that this doesn't really put anyone other than Asuka down because we know it. We guessed the outcome. We're going to see the outcome. It's going to happen. We already guessed what was going to happen last week. But, I felt like this made Asuka look even worse. And she's not exactly like a new star, but she's someone that, is fairly protected and loses in the dumbest ways. I think that, and we had a conversation about this too. It was like, I was like, it just feels like bitter. And you had some really great points about that. So if you want to say how, your response to that.
Yeah, I personally don't think Ember Moon is bitter in things that she said. I think she's talking from the perspective of a fan. I think in terms of just her outspokenness and vocalness and things like that, I think he's as much as she's in the business and she is signed to WWE and she kind of gets everything that's going on. I think there's a part of it that's also still innately a fan. She hasn't competed on the main roster similar to the same length as everybody else. She actually for a large part of her career, for over a year at this point, she's been on the backs, she's been taking the back seat. So she's been watching it as a fan. And I think she's more so reacting to it as a fan. But I think, I don't see it as bitter. I see it more so as like, okay, it's a critique. It's a critique that I think, do they need all the belts at this time? For story purposes, I feel like once we see all this kind of unfold and even kind of the things that were happening on Monday Night Raw, I still don't think you needed all of the belts to do this. But, and you get to Bayley's response as well, where Bayley, she kind of chimes in and she says that like, Ember Moon's not here. Someone's got to take control of the division and it's going to be us. There are people out and, it's been us for a long time. But again, I don't think she's bitter because I think, honestly, if you look back a year ago, Bayley would be saying the exact same thing. Bayley would, if there was, and I'm sure there was, you get the WrestleMania 35 main event with both titles on the line. We both argued like, should both titles even be in the same match? Like, couldn't they have done another match, promoted something else? But you know what? They wanted to have the biggest match possible with the biggest name possible for the biggest story possible. I think WWE, at least lately now, has been concerned more so for creating these moments, which are great moments. But in terms of that, it kind of sacrifices the story overall because now you kind of look back and you're like, oh, well, you're going to remember 100% we're going to remember that Bayley and Sasha had all the championships. And it's a great moment. And it's a great, I think it will define this part of their career up to this point as being probably the most dominant female tag team, probably one of the most dominant tag teams right now. But in terms of the overall story, it's like, is that a hindrance to people, who you look at Nikki Cross, for instance, who lost again, and no one thought she was going to win, but she lost again. And you look at Asuka, who's also, suffering from this as well. And then you see all these other feuds that maybe could use a championship, maybe could use, other people
attention
be built. Yeah. Attention or built or something along those lines. I agree in a sense with Ember Moon. I do think maybe saying it on a public thing and also being part of WWE, knowing that's how weird. Everything kind of goes on. Yeah. I do think that's a little. I think probably I would be advised as saying that publicly. against is like, if you know how it is, don't,
don't try to.
Why are you
portray it as
coming at
something
us
else.
publicly? Yeah, why are you coming at us publicly if you kind of know what it is? Like, ultimately, you know what it is.
Because and it's the same thing we say with like other people within the company that say stuff online. It's like, the type of, everyone has a stand. There's Kurt Hawkins stands. Like what type of support you're gonna get and reaction you're gonna get from that. You're stoking the flames, and whether it's a work or whether it's kayfabe or not, like it's something that is definitely it causes the toxicity to grow.
Yeah, it's getting a very poor reaction, just whether it's a work or not. And I don't necessarily agree with Ember Moon, because even when Bayley turned heel, she gave literally everybody on the SmackDown roster a title shot.
Yeah. Including her.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's Bayley's fault that that she's getting or she's running through the women. Like, you want to talk, it just goes back to the writing room or like creative, that like there's an issue there, and it's just like, you're not necessarily active right now, so it's not like you're necessarily like in the back suffering from this. And a lot of these other women are all in different not title pictures, just different programs. I think the only women that are not on SmackDown is Dana Brooke, Carmella, and Tamina. And if I say it week in and week out, everybody's just like, we want to see different women on the show. Soon as Carmella is moonwalking out there, people are going to get pissed. People are going to be like, are you for real? What's going on? Seriously? Because
she won? Or some shit.
Yeah, right? And it's just like, even when Tamina finally got her title shot, everybody was like, oh my God, Tamina, for real? And then, I still think that Bayley did gold with Tamina, gold. Right. But,
I mean, we hung our jerseys in the rafters for a reason, 100%.
I think SmackDown just suffers a whole different problem with the women. Like, I think there's a kind of a problem with Sasha holding the title, because I think the Raw Women's Division is so much better and definitely could use a title.
Yeah. And I think, just the idea, and it's not even necessarily the whole like, oh, she's on SmackDown thing, but the general idea that she kind of comes in, it seems like a side storyline. It moved into the main storyline just because it's going so well. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's like, you look at the women like the Shayna Baszlers and Liv Morgans and all this other stuff like that, and kind of just has to kind of like wait for this thing to end. You could Shayna Baszler for maybe like the last like 4 or 5 months. She could have been involved in something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something.
I must say that we're talking about this from like a last week lens. This week's shows, all of these people are on the show. There's 3 storylines involving women on SmackDown right now.
Right.
And there's multiple, like 4 on Raw. So again, like they're giving us the time. And like, to be fair, like all the women
feels like, I mean, it just kind of feels like you have 3 separate championships that could be in 3 separate programs, but they're wrapped up within the same 4 people. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what the issue is. It's like you had the Nikki. I mean, the Nikki Cross thing is the Nikki Cross thing.
You know how it is with the horsewomen. You're not going.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it. Yeah, but ultimately, I think it's more so what Cyrus says. I don't think the problem is with the women. I think it's more so with the creative. It doesn't make it necessarily right in my idea, but they're going to do what's best for them because they're ultimately doing what's best for business. Not to steal a term from those
corporate
guys. But but they're ultimately doing what's best, what's going to draw people, and they know kind of the eyes that Bayley and Sasha are going to get as opposed to other people. But these are the time to build up stars. I mean, you got a whole women's division. It can't be now 2 of the 4 horsewomen are out. So here's the opportunity to at least say, okay, what's the next step? What's the next generation going to look like? Where is it? Everyone's going to say Bianca Belair, but I didn't know Bianca Belair's is just in due time. I think it's honestly
she was on Raw. So I mean,
I think it's a matter of time.
It's Shayna time right now. But I
think so.
Like I said, I think it's still a SmackDown problem. And honestly, I do think that Bayley might have, been in a title picture with Sonya Deville at some point, but the Mandy and Sonya story got kind of sidelined because, somebody wanted to be on a party boat and they had to push it back.
Yeah.
It's just it's just a lot of conversation. I understand it. I understand where all parties are necessarily coming from. I just think there's more to have around. Ultimately, this is going to be in service of the story, but I'm confused of where the story lies now, because if it's not the Sasha and Bailey thing, then it's kind of like I think we're going to see that story is pushing out. Like, it's not happening.
Oh yeah.
Right now.
It's gonna. I mean, we'll talk about it on Raw. I think it's gonna end past the point where we said we care about it. How about that?
Right.
yeah, it's definitely gonna do that. One more thing before we get in. I know Cyrus had tweeted this 2 days ago, and it came to fruition today. The Rock and his ex-wife Dany Garcia bought the XFL. I want to shout out. I want to give Cyrus his victory lap, if you will.
I'm not saying the universe revolves around me, but it kind of revolves around me. So let's give credit to where credit's due, fellas.
The Rock got a bargain, man. The Rock and Dany Garcia. They bought a league for a whole football league for way. Like, I wish I had $15 million. That's so because. They kind of got it like on the extreme low. Like, I mean, I understand the value's gone down. You've applied for bankruptcy twice. Mm-hmm. Like there's not much you can sell the league for, but they did it. They picked it up. I'm sure they're going to make a ton of money from this. I
don't know if you guys are watching the XFL, but I was. I just think it's good, man. A little bit of it. Yeah. It's nice and short, so it's easy to consume rather than like long football games.
Right.
It was just good stuff, and I'm just glad that it's back. And I saw people tweeting about football, and I was just like, man, I don't even like know a lot of the players that people were talking about. So like the XFL being fresh to me, it was good stuff. Yeah,
and I think The Rock is a much better face for probably the XFL than Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon's name is like, I'm not gonna say. I mean, it still rings bells, but it's very, very like muddy. Like his whole history with like owning things and like buying things and all these other stuff. You go back, you can look clips of him saying the N-word on the internet. There's all types of, there's a lot of things with Vince McMahon.
The Rock is calling women disparaging things as early as 2014. So,
this is true. Yeah. But however,
also him crying when John Cena barred him up. That's not a good look.
I mean, all these things are in storyline. I mean, I guess the N-word.
Nah, the tears weren't. Right? The tears weren't storyline.
But I do think, I mean, there's a lot less thing. I mean, steroid trial, all this other stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
The Rock is just he's a much more cleaner face as of right now. It's only a matter of time.
I don't doubt that Vince will be back in some type of boardroom chair. So Rock is going to let Vince in. Period. I think it's only a matter of time.
That's he.
Vince weasels his way into a majority share or something like that.
That's he. Like, hey, I put you on. Gave you this whole attitude era shit.
What do you mean I
need a favor? I need a favor.
I gotta buy a ticket, man. Come on. Like, Vince McMahon is gonna show up. He's gonna walk out onto the field. He's like, yo, I'm Vince McMahon. I previously owned this. And then, he's just gonna, it's just like anybody. I mean, it's
all my XFL fans out there, we're clear to engage. And if you're on any other team, I don't acknowledge you right now. But say thank you when you see me on Twitter.
Oh my God. All right, let's tap into the shows real quick. We got SmackDown up first. Cyrus, I know you don't watch SmackDown, so
I don't watch SmackDown.
I'm gonna leave your ass alone real quick. SmackDown. Go ahead.
I gotta actually remember what the hell happened on SmackDown.
A couple things happened. I think we saw some really good storyline stuff. There was definitely a big angle that happened at the end of the show. But we had the continuation.
Oh, yes, right.
We had the continuation of the Matt Riddle headhunter storyline, which led to a heel turn from Chad Gable, which desperately needed. I think I don't know
if it's a turn, much like he seemed like he was strapped for cash, like and strapped for clout, and like all these other things. Like he seemed,
guys like money.
To me, it's you know what? I thought it was very this is something I rarely say of Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin coming up and schmoozing Chad. First of all, he called him Chad Gable. You didn't call him Shorty G.
He respected him.
Yeah. Yo, you out here, you out here dressing in a fucking fake, basketball outfit, out here wrestling in gym shorts. And, you're one of the best wrestlers out here. And, why are you out here? You should be where Matt Riddle is, and coerced him into that. And actually, after the whole Gulak Corbin match, which was good, it was actually good.
Yeah, it really was.
He comes out. I mean, Matt Riddle comes out. He tries to run in. Then Chad Gable comes out. He hits that rolling suplex, wheelbarrow suplex. And I'm just, God damn, this was cool. This was kind of what I wanted last week. I was like, I think this could provide a couple people a lot more opportunity, even if it's just kind of this week, but kind of show the skills that you got. And it gives you something, it gives them a chip, and it's give them something to fight for. Yeah.
I thought it was incredibly strong. I think, again, the way that they're building Riddle, it's like a slow burn. I really do think that they're like building him up to basically take over when the weird guys stop having the title. So when Fiend and Braun and all that shit's over with, they're just going to have Riddle nerf whoever it is. I think that this is, again, they're going the Kurt Angle route with him, where they'll like gradually build him up into the main event again, which I think is incredibly smart. But Cyrus, like, how do you feel about Baron Corbin, Matt Riddle? Is this still something that, like, I don't hate it as much as I thought
I think it's interesting. I think it's smart, and this is also like some like shape or form where Matt Riddle sort of gets like an open challenge, because you never know who might answer the call for the King's Bounty. So Matt Riddle could be in the ring next week, and whoever else is on SmackDown can just literally come in and face off against Riddle, and then Riddle just gets good TV time.
Yeah, and again, Riddle hasn't had a bad TV match yet. So essentially, like, you're able to, flex Riddle for a little bit longer, keep him out of the title picture, keep him away from AJ, which the AJ thing is weird because, and I guess this will segue to the next segment. Is Big E going to beat AJ for the IC title? I like, that's what I'm thinking right now.
Oh, you think he's going to go for the IC title?
Yeah, I think Big E. No, you thought Big E was going to go for the world. You thought Big E was going for the world title right now?
I thought one knew.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
No, we didn't.
I don't know. I'm not really watching.
The gap between the Intercontinental title scene and the world scene, like, it's not that far of a leap. Like, I feel legitimately. I feel they could be hurling Big for things.
Man, can Otis get it off Braun already?
No. Was Otis even seen with the briefcase on Friday? I don't remember seeing it.
No, he just showed up. He showed up with Tucker.
No, he showed up with Mandy. Something more important than a briefcase, man.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh my God! I think that
it looks like he's feuding with the Miz now. It looks like we're gonna get a little six person action at SummerSlam if I had to book the territory.
6 person between who? Oh, the Luchas?
No. Mandy and Heavy Machinery.
Otis, yeah.
Versus Sonya and Miz and Morrison. That's what I think could happen. Could happen.
Mandy always surrounding herself against just like the scumbags on the roster, like chopping it up with Ziggler. Now you with Miz and Morrison.
Yeah, I mean, she knows where it's at.
Is there gonna be a you got COVID punishment for them?
Oh Jesus!
Nah, I can't say. I don't know. It's Florida. No offense, Cyrus, but it's Florida.
Oh whoa! I don't live in Florida. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, I really see Big E getting the IC title before he goes for the. I just think, I'm sorry, like, unless something changes my mind, I think Riddle is he's handpicked to win this by the fall. Honestly,
the way this Braun and Fiend thing is going, I'm okay if I never see the title, bro.
Bro, they got to get this title off these guys, bro. The Universal title, I said this before, it is the worst world title they've ever had.
I miss Roman.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I mean, I think, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think we're transitioning a little bit now, but I think that ending to SmackDown was probably the best ending that they've had in weeks. And that's no offense to, the ladies who've been doing their thing, but in terms of just even in that program itself, it kind of blurs the lines and it kind of takes it a step further where you kind of wanted to see it take a step. The whole Braun and Bray thing has been built on their past before, and it's like, okay, yeah, I thought it would be better than it was, but it's not. It's like not by a lot. But incorporating this whole Alexa thing to it, I think it adds an element of like, okay, it's a personal thing, even though like Alexa has a boyfriend and
Braun has a girlfriend.
And completely other different things. They're friends, damn it.
You think the Fiend gonna pop up on NXT?
Nah, man. For Raquel Gonzalez?
Yeah.
Hell no.
You think Raquel go throw him 30 feet?
Exactly. You
go throw him out like Jazzy Jeff?
Oh my God. You might get tossed. No, but it's I think it will help their feud, but ultimately I think no one cares about this feud anymore. I can't imagine anyone who cares about this feud.
And I think the worst idea you could do is have Fiend get that title again. I just want to put that out there. The worst thing you could do is have Fiend win that title again. Have Braun beat the Fiend, and then have Riddle or AJ or fuck it, Big E, anyone go for that title. Anyone but the Fiend. The Fiend to me should be a face, and I think that the Fiend is a heel thing. Just it's done for me. Like he needs to be a face, but that only shows up every so often to nerf a big heel. Like why have we not gotten? I've been saying this for a year. Why have we not got Baron Corbin versus the Fiend? That's something that you want to see. Like Baron Corbin plays physical comedy like that so well. Like he should be the one screaming, not Seth Rollins. Like come on.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right.
It makes more sense. Whose dog is that?
Yipping. There's a dog yipping in the background.
That's not mine.
The storm is over.
That's not mine either. Okay, let's go to Raw, man. It's a lot of stuff happening on Raw. Let's just go from top to bottom with Raw.
Wait. Actually, one more thing on SmackDown.
Okay.
Based on how the women's championship match ended, do you see Alexa Bliss turning heel or Nikki Cross turning heel? Which one? If you had to give a prediction on which one of them will turn, what do you think? Neither. Okay.
I think the Alexa thing. I think the Alexa thing made it so that if she's turned, she'll turn on Braun, right? That would make more sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Like I'm not involved in your mess, blah blah blah. Like, really just turn it up on them.
I don't know. It's weird. I feel like they were taking Alexa out of it.
Yeah. I guess you might be right.
Who knows?
We can head to Raw now. Yeah, let's go to Raw now.
So hours before Raw, we of course got the same old reports that it was a chaos and written and what do you guys like think or care about whenever you see shit like that? It's like
no, it's a hectic day at the workplace. Okay, like that's like everybody that works at an office job. Like,
so here's what I was mad at. They said a new faction was debuting, and I was like, awesome, can't wait. Everyone's like Undisputed Era, or
no.
That's like everybody's first thought, and then everybody's prediction was wrong, and now they're mad about it.
By the way, I'm still confused. It couldn't have been the Hurt Business.
No, it was reported on Fightful. Shout out to Sean Ross Sapp that the WWE social team jumped the gun on the post. They weren't supposed to post it, and I think what they were trying to do is that the one hand didn't know what the other was doing. I think Satin was supposed to hype it up, and that was supposed to be it for Monday. And then WWE.com was supposed to do it the next week because I think this faction probably won't debut until after SummerSlam if I had my druthers and if they were smart about it, because there's no time to introduce a faction when you have a whole card that only has like 3 matches right now.
Yeah, you're building towards SummerSlam. I was like, why the hell are they debuting a faction? But I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I mean, Raw sucky anyway.
They shouldn't have announced that early. But I get it. We saw the beginning of it. I don't think the people that were shown on this episode are actually the faction. Let's just be clear. All of them look like 5 feet tall. So like, I'm pretty sure it's not.
There's
it's
only
not
one
them.
faction of all 5 foot tall guys.
and they're booked.
205 live takeover.
No. Oh my God. Listen.
But
I'm just gonna say maybe they're looking for Pat McAfee. I don't know.
But we also saw that Shane McMahon was going to be part of a segment on Raw, and we didn't know what it would be until the 9 o'clock hour. I want to start off Raw Talk, well, not the show, but our Raw Talk, with Raw Underground, a brand new concept that literally had no rules, no segment,
nothing.
It didn't need none of that, baby.
Shane appeared.
It had music though.
I couldn't get it out of my head.
Had dances.
Shane appeared at 9 o'clock, 9:30, and said, "I'll see you in 30 minutes." And then at 9:55, 5 minutes early, Raw Underground started.
That's what I was.
I was not watching Raw until I saw the tweet that said Raw Underground, no rules, unscripted fight at 10. I looked at my clock. It's 9:56. Time to turn on Raw.
Yeah. First of all, they
made me watch, man.
I was mad. I was a little bit hot. I was like, before 10 o'clock. What the fuck? But go on.
Eat. I loved it.
Well, from what I think and from what I say, like, it is the type of throw it at the wall, no rules, like random shit that Shane loves to do. This doesn't always work. And I'm just saying, it's the first week, even though I like the first week of it.
I feel like 90% of the time it doesn't work.
Yeah. And this might be a small chance where this has an opportunity. Like, I liked that it not only was something that got us away from the PC, which I thought was wonderful, and it also felt cinematic too, which is also great. Had a different look, a different branding on it, which I thought was cool as well. And I like that it actually tied into the story of the Hurt Business, where they lost all their titles in one night, and then they came in and said, "We're going to beat up white people for the last 5 minutes of Raw." And I was in the edge of my seat, like, "Yo, this is I'm cool with it." It didn't have to. It seems to be like if this is being used to put people, like, you have Eric from the Viking Raiders there, which they needed something to make them look tough again because they've been looking like some hoes, and so they had to beat up a dude. They had to beat up a dude.
They debuted homeboy from NXT. What's his name? Bobo.
Babatunde.
Yeah, they debuted him, which I thought was a great spot for him to get debuted. Yeah. I mean, considering that there's no rules or anything like that, it kind of, I think his day gets mixed up in all, like, what's going on here? Instead of actually, like, who's that? But in terms of Raw Underground, I think, so the first moment I saw it, I was like, nah.
For real? That's crazy.
When they said unscripted fights, I was like, no, not again. Because we legitimately, just 2 months ago, talked about Brawl for All. You guys had a whole damn show about Brawl for All.
Yeah, that's why I was excited. Watching Brawl for All was fun. So when I read unscripted fights, I'm just like, I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna enjoy what I'm watching.
It's weird to kind of be having this like underground thing in the whole like pandemic era, but you know what? I'm separating
ain't real, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm separating that part from my mind. It took me the wrestling ain't real part, because if you're trying to take it as an actual, they're saying unscripted, but this is a company. Like, it's not.
Yeah, it's clearly scripted.
I was mad that they weren't throwing real hands. I'll be clear. I'll be honest. What? I was mad there wasn't real hands.
All right, bro. All right, man.
I think it would have been absolutely brutal. But here's what I think. I think Raw Underground needs to be its own separate world from the rest of Monday Night Raw. It features guys from time to time, but I do think they need to be separated. And here's why. And you can let me know why I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, or anything like that. I feel like it's such presented in such a different way. It's going to attract people. If you don't intertwine it between all the hullabaloo and crap that's happening on Monday Night Raw, if you don't intertwine it, like, I think the Hurt Business showing up and saying, like, all right, this is our territory. You set the stage for that perfectly. You've now established, like, the villains. You established the boss. You established the final thing. Now you kind of have something to work towards, moving towards that. And you can establish segments. You can establish all types of other stuff. You leave the Hurt Business there. It's kind of like another section of Raw, another brand of Raw inside of Raw.
Okay.
And it's an exclusive thing. And I think that's so perfect. I don't want like just because Angel Garza's not doing nothing now he's throwing back elbows at people. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't necessarily want that. I want like it to be kind of its own thing because I do like, and I think it could be presented in a much more like grittier actual like Lucha Underground like type of thing. I think if it was presented in sort of that fashion, it would be a lot better too. But by the end of Raw, I didn't hate Raw Underground. I'll say that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought that like I agree with Meelz, like the cameos by like Dolph Ziggler and stuff
Really
like that.
good.
Like I thought it was really cool. Like I just really, again, sometimes I feel like I'm watching two different shows because it's already a 3-hour show and we've been looking at the PC for months. So the one thing that's really like cool about having crowds and these shows is that we get a different crowd every week and we get to judge them by that, and we get to judge the show by the crowd. So the one time you get to get taken out of the PC, if you will, into something else and something different, people like hate it. And
Yeah.
I just found myself not understanding what the hate was. Like I didn't get that it was.
I didn't get it either. Like soon as it was announced, people were just like, "Oh, lifespan 3 months," and I was just like, "Come on, guys! Like we haven't even seen like Raw is not even live yet, guys."
And they
Come on
said,
now.
I mean, they said that about the 24/7 title, and that's been around for a year.
Yeah, and it's all good and fun and whatever. You might think it's ugly, but like it's still fun, and we all love R-Truth, so it is what it is. I'm just like,
you're probably going to, and legitimately in 10 years, the people who are watching this are going to remember Raw Underground. I guarantee it.
yeah.
Just because it's a different feel for, it's like what Justin said, like we're in the PC for 3 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To be presented something differently gives your brain a break from the normal stuff that's happening that you watch all the time, that you at this point no one cares about anymore apparently, and is able to travel it to complete and kind of like jog your memory, jumpstart kind of something in your brain. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah. I am super optimistic about this whole thing. Like for me, this was just like the pilot. This is the first episode. And yes, they were beating up jobbers and stuff like that, but just think of the potential or just like what it's going to be like or how it's going to flourish when they have actual competitors in there, you know? But everybody was just like, no, hate it outright. What? They're not, I'm just like, come on, guys. It's like, this is the first thing that it's going through. And I guess not a lot of people love Bloodsport or the thing or whatever. So, they weren't attracted to it anyway. But I just thought it was dumb, good fun, and I was entertained. And that's all I can really ask for my wrestling to be.
Well, maybe you can talk to kind of the reaction. I think there was a reaction from Josh Barnett regarding this. What did you think just regarding that and the comparisons kind of early regarding it?
The idea of a Kumite is not original amongst wrestling. Like we have, we have kung fu films, we have the movie Bloodsport. There's like 4 of those. People were just like, oh, Raw is stealing from Chikara, but like Chikara was stealing from, this Japanese promotion that was doing this thing in the 80s. And they were doing, they were a subsection of like this type thing in the 90s or, even before that. So like having a scripted fight or, a fight that is rigged of some shape or form, like it's wrestling, guys. Like no idea is truly original when you do unscripted fight. Like, come on, guys. Like, what was the last time you thought about Chikara?
Well, not now because of the sexual allegation. Hello, my mic on. My mic on.
Also, you know what we didn't comment on?
What?
A bunch of leaks.
If we want to talk about, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just, I wanted to get it in. A bunch of leaks from another wrestling organization of people screaming the N-word. I was like, what the hell was that about?
And also, if we want to talk about the Josh Barnett Bloodsport, I've watched everyone except the second Josh Barnett one, but they're not throwing real hands on this on the Josh Barnett Bloodsport. Everybody's worried about really hurting one another, so they ain't fighting for real. There's probably like 2 real fights in the whole thing. Like, I swear, if you watch the mess that I posted last night of Killer Cross versus Davey Boy Smith, they not throwing real hands. These guys not trying to knock each other out for real. They trying to submit each other so they can go get the rest of their money for WrestleMania weekend. So like, guys, let's cut it out.
Karrion Kross won it in. He won it in. I think
0-1? Get out of here, son. You don't meet the qualifications for me. Everybody's like, Tim Thatcher. Hey man, he don't have a good ratio. He probably won.
Listen.
He competed 3 times, only won 1 match. Get him out of here.
Lord Jesus. he got clapped by Harry. I don't got no respect for Karrion Kross. How do you feel about Karrion Kross in NXT though, Cyrus?
I think he's cool. I think it's working out really well. I don't know how they're going to try to prolong him just getting his title shot. He's probably going to run through a couple more people. And I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm okay with that, depending who gets squashed and who don't. And as long as he's having matches where he's like having a dude begging for his life like he had Dijakovic, I'm all for it. I think people were saying that it's too early. What is too early, honestly? Because everybody hates somebody within like the 3 weeks that they debuted. So people say that they're too late on it. It is what it is. So far, I'm enjoying the whole thing. I can't wait to see what kind of match that he has with Keith Lee. And they might have 2 matches. They might have a series of matches. But nobody's thinking about that part.
Okay, cool. I agree. The KO show segment with the newly reunited, we're not sure, Riot Squad, I thought it was pretty good, man. I thought Ruby really like turned up here.
I didn't understand what the whole like. All right, don't get me wrong. It's not that I didn't understand.
Meelz and women, bro.
Don't get me wrong. It's not that I didn't understand. It's like I'm like, Liv Morgan, are you too good to team back with Ruby Riott? She seemed very like, I don't know about this, but I want to move. And I'm like, we're not going to, let's not do this 3-week thing where we're, teasing, are they friends? Are they not friends? Ruby really likes Liv. Liv isn't sure yet. And then something happens and then we'll never know because it gets cut off in the middle of the thing. Let's just reunite them properly. Let's do this thing properly, build up to the moment, and hopefully they have a great match on SummerSlam or the kickoff or wherever this lands, somewhere, the Raw before SummerSlam. I don't know. But I did like the segment. I like that everyone kind of got time. I think KO is just being a very great, versatile player on Monday Night Raw, despite really having no main program currently. He was just good in that moment, and he kind of helped carry all 4 of the, not carry, I don't want to say carry all 4 of these women, but kind of like was the throughput, was kind of like the clothesline and kind of making all this thing kind of work together. So I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it as well. It led into a really good match between the two. I mean, I know people really like this, and I thought people would really hate the fact that they're going to pair them back up, but I'm glad that people are into the fact that they're going to get back together. And I think they're a really good team, and I think them as baby faces, I have always wanted Ruby Riott as a baby face, okay? Yeah. I think she'll definitely have a chance to show off what she can do as a baby face because she was a really good baby face in NXT.
Right, and I think they're a little bit more fleshed out than before. Because when we saw them, Ruby Riott and the Riot Squad before, their entire act was that they were just together. But now that you kind of got them, kind of doing their own separate character things and kind of developing it, it makes it for a stronger team. I could see them taking the belts off of Bayley and Sasha.
That's what I would like to see. I would love to see them get a title shot. And Sasha Banks and Bayley, they haven't defended the women tag team titles in a minute, and I think that's how you will slowly kind of get all the belts off of them by having them lose the tag team ones first, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, please, God, please do that. We also had, speaking of tag teams, we had a one-on-one tag team between the Street Profits and the Andrade Angel team as well. They had very big storyline implications. One thing I will say about the Montez poison stuff, they did make it very subtle that there was something in his drink. I don't know if anyone caught the fact that he drank it and then he looked at his cup at one point And then
No, I didn't catch it at
missed
all.
that. I missed that. Oh my God.
Yes, but when Andrade and Zelina and Angel are coming out, they cut to Montez taking a sip of his drink, and he looks at the cup and he looks at it like, "What the fuck did I just drink?" And then they do it again. So when I watched it back, I had to rewind it because I was like, "Oh, so that's what that meant." Because they never show him drinking anything out of the cup. So when they do the match, Montez does a tope, then he falls out. Which leads the match to be stopped. And then oh my God, what do you think they put in it? They put a Norco in it.
Wow.
You know that you dream it. Hey.
Oh my God, no.
I think if you missed that, I think that for sure it's like it's something that would probably have pissed you off for sure. But I think they were a little too subtle.
It was a little bit too subtle because I didn't see it and then I was completely confused. I thought he was having like some heat stroke or whatever the hell it is. Like I was like, what? You got the vapors? What's going on here?
It's weird. I've only seen like 4 or 5 people actually mention that camera cut happened, and I caught it in when it aired, and I was like,
you're rewarded when you pay attention.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought it was the reason I fucked with that story is that I was rewarded. But the other reason I fuck with this story is that I thought Bianca was going to be completely ignored and forgotten about. And this is the natural way for her to come back. And it made sense. And I was like, thank you, God. You have not forgotten about her.
It's like they're picking up something from 3 months ago for whatever apparent reason.
I know. I know.
It is.
Just like, let's pick it up from here and do it at SummerSlam. But you know what? Whatever. At this point, if we're not doing the whole will they, won't they, or Angel and Andrade on the same page type of thing, I'm good. Let them be a tag team if they're challenging for the championships. We've got another tag team. We've got people in their corner. I think it's going to make for a great match, great moment at SummerSlam.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to see what the next part of the story is going to be. But next up, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. I got to tell you, man, I'm pretty jazzed for this match. I can't wait for it to happen. They had a really good promo segment. I thought Randy is definitely upped his promo game the last year, and Drew McIntyre every week he's showing something different about his character that I think it's proving to me that the apprehension I had at first. It's all gone. It's proving me wrong, and I'm glad to be proven wrong. I think Drew's a great champion, especially compared to Braun.
Right. No, I think overall, I generally think the same thing. I just, the subject matter for the whole thing. We've been doing this Randy has been in titles for 15 years thing for 15 years. I think we need to stretch off of something else. I think everyone's gripe can't be that Randy Orton had it good 15 years ago. Like, you weren't even here 15 years ago. I wish they would draw from something different, draw from something maybe a little bit more original, because you saw it the entire time with the Edge feud, and now you're seeing it in this feud, and you saw it with the Big Show thing, and you saw it with the Christian thing, and you saw it with the... Yes, we get it. Randy was an asshole 15 years ago, and he got rewarded for it. Fantastic. What else do we got?
I do like the twist that Drew put in there that he wanted to beat him for everyone that Randy's ever disrespected. I've never heard that one before. I thought that was a cool twist on it, even though you're right. It's a retread. But I like the way Drew brought in the personal aspect of it, because we got to remember, like, Drew isn't like some like he's someone that was around during Randy's reign of terror 10 years ago. Right. So he was able to pick up the personal stuff from it. But again, we've heard Edge talk about it for 3 months. So again, it's very much retreaded, but I cannot wait for this match. And we get KO versus Randy next week. I think that's going to be a banger as well. Raw coming with the banger.
Poor Kevin.
Poor Kevin. I don't think nothing to do.
I don't think he's going to be written off. I saw somebody say, "Oh, Kevin's going to go on a break." I was like, "No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Drew's going to get involved in some way, shape, or form."
Ooh, you know what? A bit of news that we missed. Apparently, there was a draft that was supposed to happen.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was been reported by Fightful Select. Shout out to, they're earning their Patreon.
I'm paying.
I'm listening. But with that said, news reports that initially there was supposed to be some shake up or draft or something sometime this summer. Then it got pushed back to early in the fall. Then it got pushed back, I think, October. And now they have no idea when it's happening. I think obviously both rosters need kind of a fresh kind of reboot. considering everything that's going on and all the stories that are going on. I think it's been delayed because of COVID. I think they thought they would be back in arenas sooner than now. And they're still trying to. I mean, there's even rumors about SummerSlam being on a boat or SummerSlam being in Atlantic City. They really want people back. They really, really want people back. So I'm not sure what they delayed this whole draft thing for. But the draft it's big news. I mean, it's something I think the roster needs, at least, especially right now. Like, especially right now.
Yeah, I would imagine that this is how the Undisputed Era would have came up, because if you just look at the timing of everything, it lines up perfectly for Adam and them to come up. But again, you can't bring people up because there isn't going to be an NXT class next month. And it probably isn't going to be an NXT class in January. So you can't bring anybody up right now because NXT is going to be very, very light. And they brought up Matt Riddle. They brought up a lot of people. And, if you take them out, you're left with Keith, who I think is very imminent to leave as well. And you have Karrion and all these people. So, we have to keep the guys on there for as long as possible. But, I think we still will get a draft, but probably closer to the end of the year, because that's when we'll desperately need it. I think for right now, we're kind of okay to finish out the summer with these storylines, because we still got Sasha and Bayley. That's the biggest story we have coming out the summer. But I think after
happening, I don't know anymore.
I'm pretty sure it's happening, but I really feel like it's going to be a September to October thing where it does culminate in a Hell in a Cell match between these two. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's probably going to happen.
Shit, if I know anymore. I want to say I know stuff, and then I don't. We could see things in a completely different way. With that said, we got we got women's action on Monday Night Raw. It was, first of all, Sasha Banks and Shayna Baszler. Yeah, I immediately thought when this was announced, I was like, I immediately thought when this was announced, this is probably going to be the best match of Shayna Baszler's life. Legitimately.
Better than Kyrie? God damn.
Yeah.
We're two different people.
Here's the thing. I feel like Sasha, you have to work when you're working with Sasha. Like, you can't do the whole drutting and carrying around and all this other stuff like that. Like, she has to get a lot of offense in. You got to get a lot of offense in. It was strongly a back and forth type of match before,
Well, I felt like Shayna has been different since she's come back. I don't know if you caught her main event stuff, but she works a faster pace in general.
Main event stuff.
Come on, don't do her like that.
Yeah, don't do her like that.
Call her main event. No, I'm saying more so the main event. I'm not catching anyone's main event stuff, unfortunately. No.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but she works a different style now, and I think that she's now caught into a groove. Like, the way she worked with Sasha is the same way she's been working with Ruby and everyone else on that show for the past month, just to kind of warm her back up. I like her new offense. She does. She legitimately does have new offense, and she showed off a little bit in the Sasha match. I can't co-sign that the Sasha match will probably be her best match. It was a solid match for as long as they got to go. I think that I want to see her, because now they have the ability to redo those matches that they missed out on because they had to beat everybody in February.
Right.
So they can go back to these matches and have them be actually competitive now because she can take offense. But it seems as though, and you know what? I also like the way they position her. I like that she didn't go for the triple threat match. She told Asuka, I want that match when you're done. Very different way to portray her. Obviously, you can't portray her as the top heel because she isn't. It's obviously Sasha Bayley, so you can't have her out healing them right now. So you have right now next week Asuka versus Bayley. If Asuka wins, Asuka gets to face Sasha at SummerSlam. This is the same storyline they did with Bayley. A couple of months ago, right?
And this time, when Bayley was on the other end of it, she was like, "Wait, what you talking about?" Yeah, and Asuka has beaten her every time. So I think that's why Bayley possibly made that face. But I'm excited to see that Shayna Baszler is on the show. 1 week there's a report that Bruce just hates Shayna, and then a week later, she's gearing up to be in part of a title picture.
But let's be clear, who had to fall for Shayna to fly? Nia Jax, who is off TV again.
Oh yeah, they nixed that program. They were like, "No, we're not doing this no more." No.
And you know what? I'm glad. I'm happy.
I think she just needs to. It's just me with Nia Jax. She just needs improvement. She really does. Like, there's nothing I really want to say against Nia Jax. I just think she generally has to want it. And it doesn't seem like she wants it particularly.
Heart ain't in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Anything left on Raw? Nothing?
Nah.
We talked about the Hurt Business losing their titles, which
Dominic versus Rollins at SummerSlam.
Oh yeah, Dominic versus Rollins at SummerSlam. I like that angle too. I thought Raw had some really strong angles. I feel like I'm watching two different shows when I look at how people reacted to Raw. Like, I thought the Seth segment was a banger. I love
good
Joe.
Samoa Joe business. Yeah,
Joe was just like, hold on, partner, you got to get through me to talk to him.
When he said, I laughed the hardest out of everybody at that table, I was like, turn that up. I was like, I like that.
Man, Murphy should have walked on Byron's side.
Nobody would have cared.
Byron would have been like, oh, my fault, bro.
It would have been like, they just one person too far. You know what I'm saying? I really
So what do you guys think that match is going to be? Like, we've never seen Dominic Mysterio wrestle ever. So this will be our first time seeing it. I think Seth is probably the best person to have him go against. He's going to sell like a fool, and he's going to make him look great. So what do you guys think?
Hurricanrana and a lot of razzmatazz. You know
he gonna have to do a shooting star press to impress me, bruh.
What fit is he gonna wear? That's what I'm wearing.
Oh, don't wear no.
Gear is gonna be trash.
Don't wear no fleazies, bruh.
Man, he gonna wear some sneakers that still got the stock X tag on it.
Oh my God. He's gonna be fully stocked out. 100%. 100 Fear of Gods.
Levi
Wrestling in
jeans.
those. Can you wrestle in Fear of Gods? Fear of God, sir?
The Nike Fear of God ones?
Yes.
Yeah, you can for sure. Them joints is heavy though. It'll be like remember when Kofi was wearing those LeBron Elites, like I think it was the 9s, and he gave Miz the Trouble in Paradise, and Miz was like busted open. Yes. He was bleeding. I think it's gonna be like one of those types of deals. Like
Erica Rana gonna blow off Seth's ear, bro.
Oh my God. I'm interested in the fit. That's what I'm interested in.
But I think that's it. I mean, Raw again. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really solid. They set up a lot of story and a lot of SummerSlam matches. So I guess we're waiting to see. I mean, I would imagine on SmackDown we're going to get Braun versus Fiend. Let's just be clear here. I would imagine we get like a first number one contender match for Bayley. I would imagine, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can't leave Bayley off the. I still think they're gonna have Bayley and Sasha defend twice. No, I think they're gonna have Bayley and Sasha defend twice.
I'm with it.
We'll see what happens.
It would make sense.
It's 2 weeks from this Sunday, so we're dangerously close. So if they're doing something, they're probably going to start it this Friday.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as always, thank you guys for listening to The A Show. That is our show. Please subscribe to us at The A Show RNC. Leave us a comment. Leave us 5 stars. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get podcasts from. Thank you to Cyrus. Of course, the War Report every single week, every Friday on our channel. And we have spot colors coming up as well. We got a lot of stuff coming. I got to watch Victory Road and I got to buy it. I'm sorry, Cyrus. I'm going to do it. We're going to watch it. We're going to watch it. So thank you, Cyrus, for being on the show. Thank you all for listening. Until next week, please be safe. Please wear a damn mask and wash your hands. See you later.